Hello and welcome to this quick video on the origins of the Weimar Republic. So this is key topic 1 in Germany, so we're going to look at 1918 to 1919. So let's start at the end of the First World War. We know the First World War is between 1914 and 1918. By September 1918, it looked very much like Germany was losing the war, but most German people were refusing to accept that at home. By the 3rd of November, things escalate. So the main German naval base at Kiel, they mutiny against their leaders. So they lose control of their navy. And this sparks rebellion all over Germany. And it leads to the collapse of the German government that was led by the Kaiser. So what happens as a consequence on the 9th of November is the Kaiser abdicates. He no longer has control over Germany, so he has to leave his position. So the Kaiser's run away, he's abdicated from his role on the 9th of November, and Friedrich Ebert, this man here, he's the leader of the Social Democratic Party, and he becomes leader of Germany. He becomes the Chancellor of Germany, like our Prime Minister. And one of his first actions on the 11th of November is that they sign the armistice, which is the agreement to end the war. So Germany have surrendered, they've lost the war, the Kaiser has abdicated. So what next for Germany? So Berlin's a mess because there's lots of riots going on in Berlin. So they have to move the government to a small town in Germany called Weimar. And that's why it becomes known as the Weimar Republic, because Ebert is elected as the first president. And what they want to put in place is the first representative democracy. So they want people, and all people, to have a say in how the country is run. So people over the age of 20 will get a vote in how Germany's run. And that hasn't happened before. And the government is supposed to have the power. The elected government is supposed to have the power. They also, and some of the good strengths of this Weimar Constitution is they have a Bill of Rights that guarantee freedom of speech, religion, and equality. And these things, these kind of rights weren't common beforehand. However, there are problems. Many of the Germans don't like the idea of democracy. They're used to one leader in charge, that being the Kaiser. So this is very uncommon for them. And it's going to take them a while to get used to this. The Constitution, which is the set of rules that run a country, while it looks great, it actually contains two big flaws. The first being proportional representation, and that's the way that people vote, so PR. And the problem with proportional representation is it leads to coalition governments. So you end up with loads of parties having lots of different amounts of seats, and you don't have one strong central government. And that is a problem because when you want to get things done, you're going to have to find consensus, and all those little parties are going to have to agree with each other. And that in a crisis is going to be very difficult. And the other big problem is this thing called Article 48. So in an emergency, the president could pass a law. However, in the Constitution, it doesn't really define what an emergency is. And the Weimar becomes heavily reliant on this, particularly in the early years of the Weimar. They end up using it something like 130 times when it really should only be for an emergency. It is also going to cause problems later down the line because some unscrupulous leaders like Hitler are going to use that power for ill.